The human brain is a pattern-seeking machine. From the moment we're born, we're hardwired to find connections, to predict what comes next, and to try to make some sense out of the chaos around us. It's what helped our ancestors survive, knowing that certain clouds mean rain or certain sounds mean danger. But what happens when our ability to find patterns becomes a trap? What happens when we aren't finding patterns, but actually creating them out of thin air? Today I want to talk about a subtle but powerful error in reasoning called the Texas Sharpshooter Fallacy. Harry, you have to try these things. I've been taking these Zen drops for 2 weeks, and my productivity has skyrocketed. It's a total game changer. Productivity? Really? I thought you were struggling with your deadlines last week. That was just a fluke. Look, I tracked my output. On Monday and on Friday, I finished every single task on my list before 3 o'clock. I was a powerhouse. Wait a second, Larry. Didn't you take those drops on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday too? How'd you do on those days? Well, Tuesday and Wednesday were kind of slow, and Thursday was okay. But look at the pattern. Monday and Friday, perfect scores. The data's right there in the results. The drops work. But Larry, you're only looking at the days you felt good. You're ignoring all the days when the drops didn't seem to do anything. You're drawing a bullseye around the only days you happen to be productive. I'm not drawing anything. I'm just reporting the wins. This scenario is a classic example of the Texas Sharpshooter Fallacy. The name comes from a joke about a marksman who fires his gun at the side of a barn, then walks up to the wall and draws a circle of a target around the cluster of bullet holes to make it look like he has perfect aim. This fallacy occurs when someone picks out a cluster of data that supports their conclusion while ignoring all the data that contradicts it. In Larry's case, he cherry-picked the successful days to create a pattern of productivity that doesn't actually exist. The danger of this fallacy is in how convincing it can actually look. Because the hits are real, the pattern feels authentic. Our brains are naturally prone to this because of something called clustering illusion, the tendency to see patterns in random noise. When we use the Texas Sharpshooter method, we're performing something called post hoc reasoning. We see an outcome, and then we work backward to find a reason or a pattern that justifies it. Instead of testing a hypothesis to see if it's true, we take the results we like and invent a hypothesis to match them. In science, this is often called p-hacking or data dredging. If you test 1,000 different variables, by pure statistical chance, a few of them are going to appear to correlate with your result. If you only report those few correlations and hide or ignore the others, you're acting like the Texas Sharpshooter. This fallacy shows up everywhere, often without us even realizing it. Have you ever seen a skincare ad that says something like, 90% saw smoother skin? Sounds impressive, right? But what they aren't telling you is that they didn't include everything. They might have tested 1,000 people, but they only highlighted the results from a specific subgroup that reacted well, or they ignored the 40% of the participants who saw no change at all. They drew the target around the successes. We all do this. You might say, every time I wear these lucky socks, my team wins. You remember the 3 games you won while wearing those lucky socks, but you conveniently forget the 5 games you lost while you were wearing them. You're ignoring the misses to maintain a rewarding but very false pattern. This happens in all kinds of areas of life. In finance, analysts will often point to a specific short-term window of time where you can claim a stock that's on the rise. They might show you a beautiful upward curve from the last month while completely ignoring the massive downward trend of the past 2 years. They're focusing on the cluster of recent hits to hide the overall pattern of losses. Recognizing the Texas Sharpshooter Fallacy is a powerful tool for your mental well-being. When we fall prey to these false patterns, we make poor decisions. We spend money on ineffective products. We develop irrational fears. And we become victims of misinformation. The next time you see a compelling pattern, ask yourself, where are the misses? Is this pattern being represented in a vacuum, or does it really account for the whole picture? By looking for the holes outside the target, you develop a sharper, more resilient mind. You move from being someone who's easily swayed to illusion to someone who seeks the truth in the full, messy, and beautiful complexity of the real data. So stay curious, stay skeptical, and keep seeking the whole truth. That's it for today. Keep your discussions grounded and let the ideas themselves guide your conversations. Thanks very much for taking a few minutes to watch this video. There's more content about critical thinking, mind, meaning, and society at quietfrontier.com. Please feel free to check it out. There's a link down in the description. And if you find this type of content meaningful, I'd really appreciate if you take a second to hit the like and subscribe buttons. Thanks again for watching. Take good care.
You need to connect with those you suspect are making up the truth by telling the right lies. Keep an eye on